Okay, so let's dive in. Have you ever stopped and thought, hang on, Tim Cook sounds proud that loads of people are using an unstable iOS 26 beta? I mean, for Apple, right? The company known for, like, perfection. It just feels a bit weird.
Yeah, it's a totally fair question. And that feeling, it really stems from decades of Apple drilling this image of, meticulous control. Think way back, Apple I, the first Mac 128K.
Right, those beautifully simple, self-contained boxes.
Exactly. The whole story was, it just works
Yeah.
perfectly, out of the box. That was the promise.
And that was Wozniak, that was Jobs. They really baked that philosophy in. It built massive trust. People just expected that polish. So yeah, hearing the CEO cheer on a Buggy beta, it clashes hard with that expectation, doesn't it?
It really does on the surface. But the key thing here is understanding why he's proud. It's not pride in like flaws or instability itself. It's pride in a very successful, very modern way of developing software.
Okay, so less about the bugs, more about the strategy behind it.
Precisely. It's a fundamental shift. A paradigm shift, you could even say. Moving away from trying to achieve perfection in secret, in isolation.
Towards actually working with the user base, collaborating.
Exactly. It's a huge change in thinking. And it's driven by necessity, really.
Necessity, how so? What changed so drastically?
Well, think about the sheer complexity now compared to back then, iOS 26.
Yeah.
It's not just one program. It's this enormous platform.
Right.
It needs to run smoothly on, hundreds of millions of devices. You've got everything from an iPhone 11 still out there, right up to the brand new iPhone 16s, and specific features like Apple Intelligence needing the iPhone 15 Pro. It's a massive range.
And that's just Apple's hardware.
Yeah.
And you layer on millions of third-party apps, right?
Right.
Plus everyone uses their phone differently.
Totally. Different Wi-Fi, different 5G conditions, weird combinations of apps running, unique user habits. I mean, you just cannot realistically test every single possibility inside Apple's labs. It's impossible.
Okay, I see where you're going. So that old model of, like, planning everything perfectly up front, hitting a deadline, and shipping,
Yeah.
it just doesn't work anymore.
It's pretty much obsolete for this kind of scale. Honestly, trying to stick to that old predictive planning often led to, unfinished code, critical bugs getting missed,
Yeah.
and sometimes features that just didn't land well with users. The dreaded digital dumpster fire scenario some people talk about. Releasing something perfect first time just isn't feasible for an OS anymore.
So the answer is embrace the chaos. No, wait, that's not right.
Well, sort of. It's more like embrace controlled chaos or controlled instability, these huge public beta programs. That's Apple's direct response to managing all this insane complexity.
Okay, controlled instability. I like that. It's a strategic move, not a mistake.
Absolutely. It's essential. It's how they make sure the final version that goes out to everyone is as solid, stable, and secure as possible. Given the scale, releasing without this kind of real-world testing would be incredibly risky.
Right. So it reframes the whole idea of beta testing. It's not just try this out and see. It's a planned, structured part of the development cycle.
Yes, exactly. The goal is to get that crucial real-world feedback, find those hidden bugs, refine features before the big public launch. It's about making sure it doesn't just work, but actually meets or even exceeds what people expect.
And speaking of strategy, didn't Apple make a big move a while back by making the developer program free? I remember that used to cost like $99 a year.
They did, and that was huge. Removing that financial barrier, it just opened the doors. Suddenly, a much, much larger and crucially more diverse group of people could jump into these betas.
Democratizing QA.
That's a great way to put it, democratizing quality assurance. So Tim Cook's pride, it's partly pride in the success of that strategy. This enormous, varied testing community is generating incredibly valuable data.
Data they just couldn't get internally.
No way. Internal testing is vital, alpha testing, but it's limited. It's in a controlled environment. Public betas find those weird bugs, the ones that only pop up on an older iPhone, maybe running some specific third-party app, only when you're on a flaky 5G connection.
Stuff you'd never predict.
Never. And it's not just about finding crashes or functional problems. It's also huge for user experience, for design validation.
Like that liquid glass interface in iOS 26, the transparent look.
Perfect example. How does that actually look and feel in day-to-day use? Is text readable against all kinds of wallpapers? Is it intuitive? Beta testers provide that real-world feedback. Screenshots and internal reviews can only tell you so much.
And I bet there's a big cost saving involved too. Finding a bug in beta must be way cheaper than patching it after millions have already downloaded the final release.
Oh, many times cheaper. Absolutely. Think about the cost of developing, testing, and deploying an emergency update versus fixing it earlier. Plus, it protects the brand. A smoother final launch is always better for reputation.
Makes sense. And it's smart marketing too, isn't it? Early access gets people excited, generates buzz.
Definitely. It builds anticipation, media picks it up, and those early adopters, they often become your best advocates talking about the new features.
So it also builds this kind of relationship, a social contract maybe?
Yeah, that's a really insightful term. Participating makes you feel like you have a bit of a say, right? A stake in making it better. It fosters loyalty.
So win-win. Apple gets testing, data, insights, risk reduction,
Yeah.
and users get early access, a voice, community.
It's a pretty effective symbiotic relationship, yeah. Both sides benefit significantly.
Let's talk specifics with iOS 26 then. You mentioned liquid glass. That initial reaction wasn't universally positive, was it?
No, not at all. Some initial feedback was pretty harsh. People found readability difficult, called it extremely bad in some cases.
Ouch. So was that a design failure or part of the plan?
I'd argue it was likely a calculated risk. Put something bold out there knowing it might be divisive, specifically to get strong reactions and gather data.
Like a giant A/B test.
Kind of, yeah. A massive real-time A/B test. And that strong feedback allowed them to react quickly. Beta 2 saw pretty dramatic changes to improve contrast and usability, and they kept tweaking it in subsequent betas.
And it wasn't just design tweaks, right? Weren't there functional changes based on feedback too?
Absolutely. Notification summaries, for example.
Yeah.
There were some incidents early on with them maybe not summarizing accurately. Based on feedback, they were refined and reintroduced in Beta 4 with more user controls.
Oh.
And remember, the select button disappearing from the Mail app, that caused a stir. User complaints were loud enough that Apple brought it back in Beta 5. That's a direct response to user feedback in action.
And they make it easy to give that feedback with a feedback assistant app, right?
Yeah.
It collects the technical details automatically.
Yeah, that's key. It streamlines the whole process. You report a bug or suggest an enhancement, and it can grab diagnostic logs, screenshots, etc., which helps the engineers reproduce and fix the issue much faster. The sheer volume they get helps prioritize fixes for the final release.
Okay, but we have to address the elephant in the room, and the instability part. It's not all smooth sailing for beta testers. Apple themselves warn about it.
Right, and it's important to be upfront about that. The unvarnished truth is beta software can have problems. Apple clearly states it may contain errors or inaccuracies and may not function as well as the final version.
So things like crashes, poor battery life, connectivity issues, those are real possibilities.
They absolutely are. Anyone thinking of installing a beta needs to understand those risks. It validates the initial concern we talk about.
So what does Apple do to manage that side of things if they're asking users to take this risk?
They're pretty clear about managing expectations. They strongly advise installing betas on secondary devices, ones that aren't business critical.
Right.
And the number one rule, always back up your data first. Always.
And there's a way out if it gets too buggy.
Yep, they provide clear instructions on how to unenroll from the beta program and restore your device back to the latest stable public release using that backup you made. Plus, this whole process ties into their security efforts, too. Finding and fixing vulnerabilities during the beta phase, sometimes incentivized by their bug bounty program, makes the final release safer for everyone.
It really changes how you see the beta user, doesn't it? Not just a tester, but maybe a partner.
I think valued partner is a great way to describe it. By installing the beta, finding those edge cases, reporting the bugs, even minor annoyances, you're actively helping Apple make the final product better for millions.
So you get the early look, the new features, a sense of contribution.
And Apple gets invaluable real-world testing, data, and a more robust final OS, that symbiotic relationship we mentioned.
So wrapping this up, Tim Cook's pride makes a lot more sense in this context. It's not misplaced confidence in something unstable.
Not at all. It's pride in a development system that works incredibly well at modern scale. It's about harnessing the power of the community to build something better than they could alone.
Because that old idea of Apple crafting perfection in a locked room, that belongs to a simpler time, really.
Exactly. For today's complexity, with hundreds of millions of users and endless variations, achieving that high quality demands this kind of collaborative approach, even if it means navigating some initial controlled instability.
Perfection isn't just delivered anymore. It's co-created through iteration, listening, refining.
Which brings us to that new Apple paradox, doesn't it? In today's world, maybe the only way to achieve true, widespread stability and polish is by embracing and working through that initial instability together.
A fascinating thought. It really makes you think, what does this evolving social contract between tech companies and users mean for how you see technology developing? Something definitely worth pondering.